Yeah, well, last time I was here, the Force were in their first year, I think, and I was coaching with the Blues from Auckland, and I think it was at Subiaco Oval, so it was a wee way away from here, and this looks very, very impressive stadium. I am looking forward to having a look inside later on, and I'm looking forward to coming back with the team later in the year.
What kind of sport have you kind of come into?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit fragmented at the moment, just on the back of last year. There were a number of changes during the year, and it just means that there's probably not as much continuity as I'd be used to, or that cohesion that comes with players having played a number of years together, particularly in a national team. I've come in recent times from two very settled national teams, so that will be a new challenge for me, and look, I'm massively motivated by it.
Is that a short-term fix, or is it something that is kind of going to have to deal with?
Yeah. Nothing's ever a short-term fix. Everything takes time, particularly cohesion when you're trying to build that relationship between players where they can almost act instinctively off each other. Also to get them in some sort of attacking alignment, defensive alignment. All those things do take a bit of time, but it's not a luxury we have, so we'll be as ready as we can be when we kick off against Wales. And the advantage we'll have, it'll be our 5th test of the season by the time we arrive here, so hopefully you see some evidence of that cohesion. Yeah, what we're doing, really the first thing we've done is get our coaching team together, and then we would run a depth chart, and constant conversations around where shifts happen on that depth chart. There's guys who come back into the game and guys who get injured. Obviously, we got a couple of injuries last week, but in recent times, particularly in the Force, a couple of big men have come back, Isaac Rodder and Sam Carter, from injury, and you're always just adjusting that depth chart. You know that you're going to have as many players in each position as you can, and then you start to fine-tune that probably once we get to the playoff rounds.
You mentioned Rodder and Carter. Are there any other Force players who've maybe stood up before your eyes this season?
Yeah, a number have. Obviously, I know Whitey from old. Ben Donaldson obviously was the incumbent, Wallaby 10, and his acceleration, his ability to challenge the line and distribute well have been very evident. Jeremy Williams has gone well. There's a number that we have continued to keep an eye on.
We've seen the comeback story of Kelly this season. Is there any room for a player with such experience like him in your style?
Yeah, Kirtley's just finding his feet again. He came back, played for Randwick, then got picked up over here, and even talking to Nick about Kirtley, that he's had an influence, just his calm experience from the backfield. It means that it's helping the guys in front of him, and then there's his own athletic abilities that are very useful from the back.
Can you make this first few games back here at the Force at top level again, especially the one against the States?
Yeah, I still think he's finding his feet, but he's. I've coached teams against Kirtley, and he's shredded us. So I know what he's capable of, and I've seen it. I think in the second test here a few years ago with Ireland, he scored from about 40 metres out, ripping a decent hole in our defence. So I do know what Kirtley's capable of. I think it will take a little bit of time for him to find his feet. Particularly, it's a new team for him as well, and I do think it takes a while to slot in and get comfortable.
Joe, a lot of rugby fans obviously in Western Australia. What sort of challenge is it taking on chance. Can you give us a bit of an insight?
Yeah, it is a challenge. You know, the last game they played, I was in the opposition coaching box, obviously, and you know, we felt pretty disappointed at the end, not just with the result, but with some of the things that happened during the game, and they're just so difficult to break down. They stay in the game really well. They're incredibly physical. They tend to try to suffocate you. Really strong set piece. They've got some very big men, and so, you know, standing next to Whitey today, it's not the same size as that. It's a lot bigger, but they have some real gifted players as well. You know, people think about South Africa as big and bludgeoning their way to victory with guys like Cheslin Colby, Aronse, some of those real whippets, and some of the skill they have. Even Damien Delonde, who was in the image behind us, yeah, he's got some real talent around his kicking game, his passing game, but he's pretty good at going forward as well.
A lot of Kiwis in Perth too. Would you hope that they, All Black fans, would get behind the Wallabies when they take on the Springboks here? Maybe they can come to the stadium and be part of it?
Oh, I'd love that to be the case. You know, I do think that they would support the local team without a doubt, and they'll also have memories of the World Cup final and be hoping that someone can knock off the Springboks, and yeah, why not us? Why not the Wallabies here in a stadium where it's been pretty successful for them in the past, and as I said, looks like a really impressive stadium. I think people would really enjoy getting along to what will be a top quality fixture.
It's the second part of the tour, isn't it, against the Springboks? Is that an advantage, do you think, being at a neutral ground where they haven't played before?
Not really. There's a big South African influence here in Perth as well, so I've no doubt they'll have a bit of support. But I'd like to think that we can drown that out a little bit with green being beaten by gold. So hopefully people get along wearing their gold jerseys and in full voice.
Are you still getting used to pumping up the gold rather than the black?
No, and you know, it's not a difficult thing to do. I've got to know some of the guys on the ground. They're massively invested in it, and I think in this corner of the world, we need to help each other on all sorts of fronts. New Zealand and Australia. We've even got against the British and Irish Lions and Anzac team going out next year. So, you know, we're a lot more aligned probably than people think until the whistle goes. Yeah.
Joe, just quickly as well, 100-place Army and Darcy Swain both re-signed for this week. How big a deal is that to keep an assistant for a couple of years?
Yeah, it's fantastic. People are choosing, you know, the pride of playing for their nation, but also the lifestyle that Australia offers, and the teams that they, you know, are part of. I think Darcy's excited about coming here. Hunter is very much ensconced in the Queensland Reds and doing a really good job for them at the moment. So I think there's a lot more to players making decisions around rugby than just the contract they might be offered. It does give them a real window to play some fantastic events upcoming. The Lions next year, 2027 World Cup. I just think it couldn't be a much more exciting time to be part of the Australian and Wallaby landscape.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Cheers.